it's time to get up. Nah, for real. Actual King Smith. Let's go. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What you sleeping on your life for? Wake up, wake up, wake up. Every day's a chance for more. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Hands up, let the beat thump. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Hey, wake up. Alarm clock ringing, but your mind's still tired. Dreams on snooze, yeah, goals on fire. Everybody talk, but few take steps. Same old excuses, different regrets. I ain't here preaching, I'm here reminded. Pressure make diamonds, time and divine. You got breath in your body, fire in your chest. So why you living like you set up for less? Get up off that couch, move your feet. New mindset every time we meet. No doom scrolling, no fear feed. It's the real talk over funky beats. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What you sleeping on your life for? Wake up, wake up, wake up. Every day is a chance for more. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Hands up, let the beat thump. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Hey, go. No cape, no crown, still king energy. Talk my truth, that's my identity. Life get heavy, yeah, I've been stressed. Still showed up, put hard in the test. If they doubt you, good, prove them wrong. Same doubt, fuel, make you go strong. Ain't waiting no luck, I hustle with faith. Mind on progress, foot on the gas and say what? Say now, say move, say how, say what, say what. Get in the bed, shut up and get up and wake up, wake up. It's a moment, don't waste none. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Sun still rise, so you ain't done. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Beat knocking, let your soul jump. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Hey, wake up. Yeah. This ain't motivation. This is a reminder. Wake up, wake up. Hey, hey, hey. Hey.
Yeah. What's up? What's good? What's happening? Welcome to my wake up show. I am the actual King Smith, and this is Wake Up with the Actual King Smith. It is Monday, January 2nd, 2026, Groundhog Day up in this joint. And if you don't know what Groundhog Day is, then you are not from the United States. And I want to say welcome to my live stream. Either way. Now, I've got a picture that I want to see if I could try to bring up here real quick as I talk about Groundhog Day. Let me see if I can find this file real quick. Here it is. This is me when I was in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania this past October for a sad reason, actually. A good friend of mine, I'd almost call him a brother. I would call him a brother. His sister passed away, and he's from the area. So I had a chance to stop and see where the famous Punxsutawney Field is from. And this entire city has different groundhogs throughout the city, different statues or whatnot. Very, very touristy. But I got a chance to get up to Punxsutawney, and this is one of the photos that I took. One of the many photos that I took while I was up there. Do a lot of traveling. I get a chance to get out and see some things. So Groundhog Day is a tradition that we have here in the U.S., where Punxsutawney Field is this famous groundhog predictor. And he comes on, and if he sees his shadow, then the tradition says that there's 6 more weeks of winter here, which I don't want more winter around here. And this tradition actually is one that makes me even question, why do we still care about this groundhog shadow in 2026? It's been a thing since 1887. And it's one of the longest traditions that I can think of off the top of my head that don't have anything to do with Christmas or anything like outside of that. But people talk about it. It's Groundhog Day. Let me know what y'all think. If we get more winter, if this thing predicts a shutout and we get more winter, how y'all gonna feel about it? I'm ready for this snow and all of this stuff that we're having down here in the U.S. to end. What I want to talk about today, man, there's a couple of different things. I think we're still on a partial government shutdown, right? The current state of things that I saw when I woke up this morning and checked the news is that the partial shutdown that we're experiencing in the U.S. started Saturday, February 1st, because Congress failed to pass all of a funding bill before the January 30th deadline. Now, what's different about this shutdown is that it's not a full government shutdown like we experienced just a few months ago. It's a partial government shutdown because there's parts of the government that are unfunded with some of the appropriation bills that were already passed. But there's still going to be an impact if this thing drags on. One of the big sticking points that we have is a disagreement over funding for the Department of Homeland Security and reforms to immigration enforcement that's been happening, especially with the recent wake of shootings that we've had with some of our federal agents and U.S. citizens. ICE and Homeland Security have been attempting to go after some pretty bad people. And in the process of them trying to go after bad people and do their job, some bad things have happened. You've got people, some folks on one side of the line saying that there's these paid agitators that are going out there trying to disrupt things, right? Trying to make good order turn into chaos. And then you've got the other side of the line that says that people don't have anything else better to do than to stop our federal agencies from doing their job. I like to try to sit in the middle. ICE has an important job. They're not just out here for no reason. There are bad actors that are doing things that aren't supposed to be here. And I'm going to sound like a broken record because I've talked about several times as well that as somebody that has traveled around the world, I've been stopped in other countries by their immigration enforcement type people and asked for my papers. And I've had to produce to make sure that I wasn't overstaying a visa or something like that. Also didn't want to be one of those people that had committed a crime over in another location and also get stopped by immigration enforcement. With the partial government shutdown, one of the questions that people are asking is, okay, who is shut down? For what I could find, you got the Pentagon, which is the Department of Defense. They're going to be impacted. DOT, Department of Transportation, Health and Human Services, Department of Education. Those are the big ones that I could find that could have big funding gaps where employees could be working without pay or furloughed. Some of the major programs that a lot of Americans are worried about that do have funding are your SNAP, food assistance, and your WIC. So there's not going to be any interruption to those benefits as of right now. What's the latest that I could find to go along with this, that the Senate did pass a funding bill with a temporary extension for DHS and a couple of other bills, but the House, before the deadline, didn't act yet. So it was that delay that triggered the shutdown. They're supposed to reconvene today, and if they do reconvene today, then this partial shutdown could end tomorrow. The Democrats, and what they're trying to demand is that they want immigration enforcement reforms to happen like now. And the things that the Democrats are asking are stuff that I believe should happen anyway. They're looking at things like all agents should have body cams. They also want the ending of masked agents and better accountability for what's happening out there. And those are three things that, if you think about it, if you are working in a federal capacity for enforcement of something like immigration, why are you masked? Who was the head of the agency that authorized that to make it so that that was supposedly okay? Right? I think that things like federal agents, like how law enforcement are doing now, wearing body cams, I still think we need to reform our body cams a bit that current law enforcement is using now, where you've got the ability to turn on and off audio and use that time to make up shit. Anyway, I don't have any issues with those kind of reforms. Reforms happen because processes aren't working. You don't change things that are good. You change things that are jacked up. And there are some parts about what's going on around that area that does need to be fixed. So, a question that I have for the audience is this: do you think that this gridlock is worth sticking to, or should lawmakers just fund things and fix stuff later? I don't like the just fund and fix later portion. I think that if you want to use leverage to get what you want, and how do I say this? Not just get what you want. It's not just Democrats getting what Democrats want. It's doing things that are for the betterment of the people as a whole. And some of the things that we're seeing out there, for about 95%, it's being done the right way. But that 5% that is messed up does need to get fixed before the 5% slowly creeps to a higher number. And that 5% of people that aren't doing right emboldens others, those that might be sitting on the fence, who would do the right thing. Now they're starting to do the wrong thing because they see other people do it and get away with it. That's the other thing that people don't necessarily talk about, is that part of human nature where most people know right from wrong. And then you've got those people that kind of sit right there on the fence. They'll do right. But if they have the ability to do wrong because wrong is easier, and not have any accountability for doing wrong, human nature will say that they're going to do wrong. Am I wrong? Am I thinking about this in this weird way? I don't think so. That's one of the things that people aren't talking about. And that's what I think needs to get shorn up. I always talk about accountability. If you take certain steps, if you do certain things, it shouldn't matter what your position is, what your last name is, how much money you have. You should be held accountable. Doesn't matter if you're the sheriff. Doesn't matter if you're the president. If you do actions, there should be accountability. I'm not even talking about one of the biggest things that came up over this past weekend, and that was the release of the Epstein file. I don't even want to go there in today's stream. There was so much that came from that I actually said I need to read up more about what was in the most recent 3 million page Epstein release file, because some of the snippets that some people have unpacked have been mind-blowing. Bill Gates and STDs. Somebody said something that I thought was hilarious. How you've got rapper, businessman, entrepreneur Jay-Z. They said Jay-Z has been linked in the Weinstein files. Jay-Z has been linked and connected to the Epstein stuff, and Jay-Z is connected to Diddy in some form or fashion. And while all those three people have been arrested, Jay-Z's still walking free. And I thought that was hilarious. So I think tomorrow we're going to talk about the Epstein files and some of the stuff that people have decided to uncover. I'm going to let them do the work, and I'm going to piggyback off of what their work is. But it is interesting, NFL owners and what people are talking about. I can't remember, was it Bill Gates too that also, instead of saying something like he didn't want any black women, he said he didn't want any N words, and he used a hard ER, Nigger. And I'm just sitting here like, I wonder if that's going to trigger, we should sell all our Microsoft products and go over to Apple. Is Tim Cook in the Epstein files? It's interesting the way that certain people, certain men go out here and look at things and take actions. I think that we're going to see more about these Epstein files. And with these Epstein files, I saved this story. There was one where our current president, President Donald J. Trump, if anybody federally is listening, how in some of the files there was a DOJ case linkage that had some very, I can't even say it on air, interesting things that were said and discussed that the DOJ went in and just deleted. But the crazy part about the internet is that once you post stuff or once you go live stream, it's out there. I know exactly what I'm saying when I come on here and, talk about these live streams. I'm not an avatar that's hiding behind anonymity. This is my face. These are my words. Not afraid to bring this stuff up. So we are going to talk about the Epstein case tomorrow for shiggity, as I found some of the stuff that were in those files very interesting. We've got a couple of more minutes here before I get ready to start my 9 to 5, and I'm going to make a bit of a pivot. I was having a conversation with some friends yesterday, and one of my friends said something that makes me want to question certain stereotypes, psychology of people, and expectations. Why is it that if a man doesn't have a woman in his life, people will automatically assume that that man is not happy? I think that assumption is interesting. And I challenged it fairly quickly when it was said. I challenged it fairly quickly because society, movies and media often portray men as lonely, searching, or incomplete if they don't have a lady in their life. And I'm like, where did that come from? Why is this a thing? Because the way that I look at it, and y'all can tell me if I'm thinking about this wrong, happiness isn't always visible, right? And someone that is single, not with somebody, could legit be content, focused, and or fulfilled. I also think like this. Ladies are conditioned to look for signs of connection, right? I think that for ladies, connection is of value for them emotionally, as they are likely the ones to ask things like, are you okay? Dudes don't really ask that more often, right? It's men, and most men communication styles, the one that like guys, we process things more internally. I don't know. I think that it's interesting that that's how people look at that. It's like being alone automatically makes it seem like you're unhappy. And I'm like, that is not the case. We need to stop with that cultural society thing and challenge that. I don't know if it's a gender thing. I don't know if it's a culture thing, or I don't know if it's a social expectations thing. Let me see. We got a couple of comments in the building. We got Zero Ideas over on Kick with the hand clapping emoji. Appreciate you popping in, Zero Ideas. We got my pops, Larry Smith, in the building, said, good morning, King. Good morning, pops, to you as well. Hey, my brother got his phone fixed. I don't know if I gave you that update. So his phone is working. He can be reachable in case you want to try to hit up your other son. He ended up shooting me a message yesterday. Let me check my notes here, see if I have anything else. Nope, that's all I have for today. It's Monday. It's the first Monday in February, the shortest month of the year. In the US, it is Black History Month. I've been doing a bit of a parody on Black History Month on my personal Facebook page, which I want to say, if you check the link in the description box, I have all of my social medias on a link tree. I'm not hard to find. I'm not that much of a private guy either. So if you aren't following me on any of my Facebook pages, go over there and look me up, either King Smith on Facebook, The Actual King Smith on Facebook, The Actual King Smith on most platforms outside of Facebook, like YouTube, Twitch. Think Actual King Smith on Twitter. That's my live stream today. I'm about to go downstairs real quick and get ready to start off my work day. Hope y'all have a fantastic rest of your Groundhog Day, and tell Punxsutawney Phil that we need to end this winter. Have a good one. Peace.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Trumpets blare the golden call. A throne awaits, I rise so tall. Drums like thunder, shake the hall. Royal rope, I wear the weight. Diamonds cut the night, no debate. Heavy is the head, but I'm feeling